Dr. Dark One's Scary Stories. Story 1. I booked the Airbnb because it was cheap, cozy, and close to everything I wanted to see on my solo vacation. The host had good reviews, and the pictures made it look clean and modern. Honestly, I was just looking forward to having some time to myself. The place was nice, a little too nice, if that makes sense. The kind of clean that feels unnatural, like it had never really been lived in. It smelled faintly of lemon cleaner, and there wasn't a single scuff on the walls. But I figured, hey, better too clean than dirty. The first night, I noticed the mirror. It was this massive old-school mirror with a thick, ornate frame right across from the bed. I'm not a fan of mirrors in bedrooms. Something about seeing your reflection in the dark freaks me out, but I was too tired to care, so I tossed my bag on the chair next to it and knocked out. The next morning, I noticed something weird. The chair I had left my bag on was facing the bed. I remembered it being angled toward the wall. I figured I must have bumped it without noticing. But it stuck with me. That little feeling like something was just off. Later that day, I got back from sightseeing, took a shower, and sat on the bed scrolling through my phone. I glanced at the mirror and saw the closet door behind me was cracked open. I could have sworn I closed it. I stared at it for a second, waiting to see if it would move. It didn't. So I laughed it off, got up, and closed it firmly. There. Happy now? I joked to myself. That night, I woke up suddenly at 3:14 a.m. I remember the exact time because I checked my phone. It wasn't a noise that woke me, just that feeling like someone is watching you. My eyes went straight to the mirror. I could see myself lying in bed, eyes wide open, staring back. But something else caught my attention. The closet door was open again, wide open this time. I sat up slowly, heart pounding in my chest. I knew I'd closed it. I knew it. My mouth went dry as I stared into the open closet, my eyes flicking between it and the mirror. Was something moving in there? My reflection seemed wrong. It looked like me, but there was this slight delay, like it blinked a second too late. Nope. Absolutely not. I jumped up, walked over to the closet, and shut it hard enough to shake the wall. My breathing was shallow and fast, and my skin felt like it was crawling. I didn't care if I looked paranoid. I piled my suitcase in front of the closet door and sat on the bed, staring at it for an hour, just waiting. Eventually, I convinced myself I was being stupid. Old doors swing open sometimes, right? I didn't sleep much that night, but I figured it was just nerves. New place, unfamiliar sounds. I'd get over it. On the third night, everything went to hell. I was packing up to leave early because, honestly, I was done. I wasn't scared, I told myself, just tired of the weird vibes. As I was zipping up my suitcase, I glanced at the mirror. There was someone standing behind me. I froze. I didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink. My heart was thudding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Slowly, I shifted my eyes to look behind me. Nothing. Just the room. Just me. I looked back at the mirror. The figure was still there. It was a shadowy outline of a person. No features, just a dark silhouette that shouldn't exist. I didn't move, hoping I was imagining it, but it didn't go away. It was closer now. I spun around, heart racing. There was no one behind me, but I wasn't stupid enough to look back at the mirror. I grabbed my suitcase and headed for the front door. I didn't care if I had to sleep in my car, I was done. But the front door wouldn't open. I twisted the knob, yanked at it, pulled with everything I had. It wouldn't budge, locked from the inside. I swore under my breath, panic crawling up my throat. I grabbed my phone to call the host, but as soon as I unlocked the screen, the power went out. The room went pitch black. I froze. No lights from the hallway, no glow from outside. Just complete suffocating darkness. My breath came out in shallow gasps and I felt for the wall, trying to find my way back to the bedroom. But then I heard it. Breathing. Not mine. It was slow and heavy, like it was right next to me. I clamped my hand over my mouth, tears welling up in my eyes. My mind was screaming at me to run. But where? I felt something brush against my arm, and I jerked away so fast I nearly fell. The breathing stopped. Then came the sound of footsteps. Not running, just slow, deliberate steps coming from behind me. Closer, closer. I bolted for the bedroom, slammed the door shut, and shoved a chair under the doorknob. I crouched in the corner, heart pounding in my chest like a drum. My eyes had adjusted to the dark now, just enough to make out the faint outline of the mirror. I kept my eyes on it, not trusting it for a second. I was shaking, clutching my phone like a lifeline, waiting for the power to come back on. Please, 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 I whispered to myself, eyes locked on the mirror. I watched my reflection sit on the bed, exactly where I'd been earlier. It sat up slowly, tilting its head, staring at me. I wasn't moving, but it was. It smiled. Not a normal smile, not my smile. It was too wide, too sharp. Its head tilted all the way to one side like it was trying to see me better. Then it stood up. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. My hands were numb, my body frozen with cold terror. My reflection walked right up to the edge of the mirror and put its hand against the glass. Palm flat, fingers long and too thin. I whimpered. I'll admit it. I whimpered like a child. Then it did something I will never forget. It knocked. 3 slow, deliberate taps on the other side of the glass. My breath caught in my throat. It leaned its head against the glass and mouthed something I didn't understand. I shook my head, tears streaming down my face. Please, go away. Please. Tap, tap, tap. My phone vibrated in my hand and I screamed. It was a notification. My heart jumped in my chest as I looked at the screen. A message from the Airbnb host. Hope you're enjoying your stay. Let me know if you need anything. I swear I would have laughed if I wasn't on the verge of a full-on breakdown. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely type. Help me. Someone is in here. I hit send and stared at the screen, waiting for a reply. I glanced back at the mirror. The reflection was gone. I scanned the room, eyes darting to every corner, every shadow, every flicker of movement. The power suddenly flickered back on, and I nearly cried in relief. The room was empty. Just me. Just me. The host finally replied, "You're the only guest. No one else should be there." I didn't move. I didn't breathe. The room suddenly felt too quiet. Then I saw it. On the bed. Something was written in the blankets. Not carved, not drawn. It was just pressed down, like someone had been lying there. It spelled out one word. Look. My eyes darted to the mirror. My reflection was back, but I wasn't. It waved at me. Then it turned and walked away. I never went back for my stuff. I left the key on the counter and walked out with nothing but my phone. I don't care if I'm overreacting. Whatever was in that Airbnb, it wasn't human. And I'll never stay anywhere with a mirror like that again. Ever. Story 2. If you've ever rented an Airbnb with friends, you know how it goes. You hype each other up about getting away from everything, split the cost, and imagine all the laughs you'll have. That's exactly what we did. Me, my best friend Marcus, his girlfriend Taylor, and my little brother Jamie. We just wanted a chill weekend away from work, school, and the usual stress. The place we booked was a rustic cabin in the woods. Classic, right? Exposed wood everywhere, old furniture, that cozy but creepy vibe. It wasn't too far from town, but far enough that there was no cell service. Just Wi-Fi, which was spotty at best. The host had great reviews though, so we figured it was safe. When we got there, everything looked normal. A little too normal. You know that feeling when something seems staged? Like a house that looks like it's been lived in, but it's just a little too perfect? The air felt stale, like nobody had opened a window in years. The first weird thing happened that night. We were playing cards in the living room when we heard it. Footsteps above us. Clear as day. Slow, deliberate steps like someone pacing. "Tell me y'all heard that," Marcus said, his eyes darting to the ceiling. "Yeah. What the hell?" I said, glancing up. Jamie laughed it off. "Relax. It's probably squirrels or something." We all wanted to believe that, but I'm telling you, it wasn't squirrels. It was too heavy, too human sounding. We could hear each thud, one after another, like someone walking slowly from one end of the house to the other. "Does this place even have an upstairs?" Taylor asked, standing up to check. There wasn't one, just a single floor. No second level, no stairs, nothing. That's when things started to feel wrong. Marcus messaged the Airbnb host, and the reply came back quick. "There's no upstairs, just a sealed crawl space for insulation." We all just kind of stared at the message for a minute. I remember saying, "If there's no upstairs, where are the footsteps coming from?" No one had an answer. The second night, it got worse. We tried to brush off the footsteps, but I don't think any of us slept right. Around midnight, Jamie woke me up, shaking my shoulder. His eyes were wide, his face pale. "Bro, come see this," he whispered. I followed him to the hallway. He pointed up. There was an attic door. It wasn't there before. I know that sounds crazy, but I swear to you it wasn't there the day we arrived. We'd all walked through that hallway 100 times, and there was no pull-down attic door. But now it was there, plain as day, with a dangling cord hanging down. Taylor and Marcus joined us, staring up at it. Nobody said a word. I think we were all waiting for someone to say it was normal, that maybe we just missed it before, but nobody did. "Should we check it out?" Jamie asked, and I shot him a look like he'd lost his mind. "Yeah, no thanks," I muttered. "It's probably just the insulation crawl space the host mentioned." Marcus shook his head. "The footsteps, man. Footsteps don't come from insulation." We all just stood there, staring at it like it might move on its own. And then it did. The cord swayed. Not like it was hanging loose. No, it swung like someone had tugged it. My heart started racing. I looked at everyone else to make sure they'd seen it too. Taylor backed up to the wall, eyes wide. "Don't touch it," she muttered. But Jamie's always the one who has to prove he's not scared. He grabbed the cord. "Jamie, don't," I said, but it was too late. He pulled it down, and with a slow, creaking groan, the attic door swung open. The ladder slid down with a loud thunk. We all stepped back. I don't know what we were expecting to happen, but nothing did. Just the open door, the dark, empty space above, and the wooden ladder leading up to it. Then something floated down. A Polaroid photo. It spun as it fell, flipping over and over until it landed at Jamie's feet. None of us moved. I think we were all too afraid to touch it. Jamie bent down slowly and picked it up. His face went pale. "What is it?" Marcus asked, already sounding like he didn't want to know. Jamie turned it around so we could all see. It was a picture of us. The four of us, sitting on the couch, from an angle that could only be from above. We were laughing, playing cards. It was literally from the night before. I felt my stomach twist. Marcus snatched it from Jamie's hand. "Is this some kind of prank? Did one of you do this?" "Yeah, Marcus, I snuck into the crawl space we didn't know existed and snapped a Polaroid," I shot back. "No one here has a Polaroid camera," Taylor whispered. I looked up at the open attic. Nothing but blackness. No light, no movement. Just that gaping hole. I swear I felt something looking down at me. "I'm not staying here," Taylor said, grabbing her coat. "Nope, nope, nope." "Agreed," I muttered, already grabbing my bag. We didn't even pack properly. We just threw everything into our suitcases, zipped them up, and left. I didn't care if I left stuff behind. I just wanted out. The next day, Marcus messaged the host, demanding an explanation. He asked about the Polaroid, the footsteps, the attic door. You know what the host said? "There is no attic door. I've never had one installed." We didn't believe him. We didn't want to believe him. So Marcus checked the listing photos. We scrolled through them one by one. Pictures of the hallway from every angle. No attic door. I haven't stayed in an Airbnb since. But that's not the worst part. A week later, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. Just a plain white envelope with my name on it. Inside was a single Polaroid. Mr. Asleep in my own bed. I sleep with the lights on now. Cameras, alarms, all of it. I don't know who sent the picture, and I'm too afraid to ask. Story 3. Booking an Airbnb in the mountains seemed like a great idea at the time. Me and my boyfriend Alex wanted a weekend away from work and all the noise of the city. The photos looked cozy. Wood-paneled walls, big windows showing off the trees, and a little fireplace. It felt like something out of a holiday movie. The host, Michael, had great reviews. People said he was super nice but gave you your privacy, which was perfect for us. We got there just before sunset. The air was crisp, the kind that stings your nose a little but feels fresh. Everything smelled like pine trees and cold air. The cabin looked just like the pictures, maybe even better. It sat on a little hill surrounded by nothing but woods. There weren't any other houses nearby and the Wi-Fi was spotty, but that's what we wanted. Peace. Quiet. Just us. The first night started fine. We had dinner, played a card game, and curled up to watch a movie on Alex's laptop. Around 11 p.m., I started getting tired, so I told Alex I was going to bed. He stayed up, scrolling on his phone by the fireplace. I woke up to footsteps. At first, I thought it was Alex coming to bed, but the sound was off. It was too slow. Not the casual way Alex moves, but heavier, deliberate, like someone pacing. My heart started to pound and I sat up. It was coming from the hallway. "Alex?" I called out, my voice cracking a little. No response. I listened harder. Thump, thump, thump. The footsteps stopped right outside the bedroom door. I froze. My ears strained to hear anything, and I swear I could hear breathing on the other side. My mind was racing. Maybe it was Alex playing a joke on me. "Alex, stop messing around," I said louder, but I still didn't move. Knock, knock, knock. 3 soft knocks on the door. Not playful, not rushed, steady, slow, intentional. I didn't say anything after that. I just sat there not breathing, waiting for him to laugh or call out, "Just kidding," but nothing. After maybe 30 seconds, I finally worked up the courage to get up. I grabbed my phone for light, took a deep breath, and opened the door. Nobody was there. "Alex?" I called out, but he didn't answer. I peeked into the hallway, looking left and right. It was empty. I found him in the living room, lying on the couch, headphones in, eyes closed. My heart dropped. He never left the couch. "Alex!" I whisper shouted, shaking him hard. He pulled his headphones off, blinking at me like I was crazy. "What?" he grumbled. "Did you just knock on the bedroom door?" He sat up, squinting at me. "No, I've been here the whole time. Why?" I didn't say anything. I just stared at him. He must have seen the look on my face because he got up and checked the locks on the front door. It was still bolted shut. "Maybe it was the house settling," he said, trying to sound casual, but I could see him checking the windows. We didn't talk about it after that. The next morning, I messaged the host. "Hey, just checking. Is anyone else staying in the cabin or around it?" He replied about an hour later. "Nope, just you two. Enjoy the peace and quiet." I felt a pit in my stomach. I told Alex, and he tried to brush it off, but I could see it was bothering him too. "Maybe someone was hiking nearby," he suggested, but I could tell he didn't believe that either. The whole day felt off after that. We tried to act normal, went for a walk, cooked lunch, watched another movie. But I kept catching myself glancing at the hallway. Every time I passed it, I expected to hear those footsteps again. That night, neither of us wanted to be alone, so we both went to bed at the same time. I locked the bedroom door, not that it made me feel any better. "Should we leave in the morning?" I asked as we lay in bed. Alex shrugged. "If it'll make you feel better, sure, but we paid for 2 more nights." I didn't answer. My eyes stayed on the door. The footsteps came back. I woke up around 3 a.m. to that same steady, heavy thump, thump, thump. Alex was already awake. I could feel his breathing change. He whispered, "You hear that too, right?" I nodded, even though he couldn't see me in the dark. The footsteps stopped in front of our door just like the night before. I held my breath, gripping Alex's arm. I think I was squeezing too hard, but he didn't complain. The door handle rattled, not a twist, a slow, steady rattle like someone was testing if it was locked. Alex sat up. I grabbed his arm, mouthing, "No." I didn't want him to move. We stayed still. The handle jiggled again. harder this time. "Who is that?" Alex finally shouted. The rattling stopped immediately. Silence. Then, with the slowest, most awful creaking sound, the door swung open on its own. We both jumped back, pushing against the headboard. I swear I felt my heart stop. My eyes locked on the doorway. For a second, it looked like no one was there. Just the open door and the black hallway. Then I saw it. A man's shadow. Tall, wide shoulders, standing completely still. I gasped so loud I startled myself. I grabbed Alex's arm, pulling him toward the window. "We have to go. We have to go," I whispered frantically. We didn't even put on our shoes. We ran barefoot out of the cabin, straight to the car. It was freezing, but I didn't care. I kept checking behind us, expecting to see that man standing in the doorway. He wasn't. We got in the car, locked the doors, and peeled out of there. The gravel kicked up under the tires, and I didn't breathe until we were back on the main road. "Do we call the cops?" I asked, but Alex shook his head. "Call them and say what? We saw a shadow?" He was right. What would we even say? The next morning, I got a notification. "Your Airbnb host has left you a review." I tapped it, expecting something generic like, "Great guests, left the place clean." But that's not what it said. The review read, "Quiet guests, but I wish they had stayed in their room like they were supposed to." I froze. My hands started shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. Alex grabbed it from me, his face going pale as he read it. Is this some kind of joke? I checked the message history with the host. No updates, no explanation, no response. We reported it to Airbnb, but they didn't do anything. Just sent a canned response saying they'd investigate. We never got a follow-up. I never saw the man's face. I don't want to know what he looked like. All I know is I'm done with Airbnbs. I'll sleep in my car before I stay in one again.